Yeah, here we go now, baby. We are right back into the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Monday edition. Before you bet, you're on live right now on the Coverage YouTube MX channels. If you're watching on YouTube right now, smash that like and that subscribe button right down there. Monday Night Football, baby. 14-point spread in Green Bay with the Saints in town. It is a game only a bettor can love. And this is why we bet. This is a classic situation. Some pretty good-looking betting opportunities, I think, in this game. So we're going to be all over that. We'll do a little recap of what we saw yesterday and those games on Saturday. And then I think every single team in the NBA is playing here tonight. So, yeah, we're going to be all over it. No Brad Powers today, unfortunately. Brad is stuck traveling. He got delayed in the airport. They need to make an emergency landing. So, sadly, Brad is not with us today, but we'll be sure to catch up with him later on in the week. Okay. If you guys are watching live right now, participate in the show by weighing in that live chat. What are you betting on tonight on Monday Night Football? What are you betting on in the NBA this evening? Let us know. Give us a little breakdown if you want. We will read a few off throughout the course of the show. So I must caution you, our little pre-show meeting, my first guest, the internet, a little choppy here today. So if it's too choppy, we're just going to have to cut him off. But let's give it a go. Let's give it a try as we bring in our man with the sexiest smile in all of sports betting. Still on dial-up internet, unfortunately.
I'm on a short leash, apparently.
Yeah, what's up, buddy? How we doing?
We doing good. Good little holiday Sunday. Things were good. Some props hit. Some props didn't hit. I don't know. A profitable Sunday, we'll call it, that's for sure.
Okay, indeed. So, not a good-looking football game here tonight. Like, I always look at the thumbnail that they do for the show, and it's usually like the big-time quarterback, the big-time runner, the big-time receiver, the best defensive player on a team. So we got, I believe it's Jordan Love, and then I need to take a look at the option we had in there for the Saints. Is it Rattler that you threw in there, producer Mick? I don't even know who it is, but like I say, it's a game only a bettor could love, and there's some pretty good betting opportunities, I think, in this game. Before we do get into that one, let's do a little recap, Jingles, of what we saw over the weekend, our biggest winners and our biggest losers. Let's start positive with my three biggest winners of the week. Let's start with Jaden Daniels. So the Commanders are a team that really needed that win yesterday. You know, they were really giving up vibes of being a pretty big fraud, I think. You know, whenever they were going against a good team, it wasn't going their way. Those positive vibes, you know, they were the flavor of the week, the flavor of the month for the first couple of weeks of the season. That was really cooling off. But good game by them, down by 13 points late in the third quarter. Daniels goes off in the fourth quarter through 3 touchdown passes, leading to 21 points here for the Commanders. 5 touchdown passes, 81 rushing yards for Daniels. Very Lamar Jackson-like. Now minus 20,000 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'm going to throw a single unit on that today. I highly recommend it. It is my lock of the year in the NFL. My second biggest winner, Kevin O'Connell. Hey, man, the Vikings just keep on going. Somehow the Minnesota Vikings are 13-2. He is now minus 250 to win Coach of the Year in the NFL. Let's see what they're really made of here. 2 massive games on deck for them. They got the Packers next week, then a big-time showdown in Week 18 against the Lions in Detroit. That could very well settle who's going to be the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. Meanwhile, the loser of that game could potentially drop to the 5th seed and have to go on the road. That would be a disaster for one of these teams because that's going to has the makings of a very emotional game. And then you have to turn things around the next week and go on the road. That could be really rough. And my third biggest winner of the week, the Atlanta Falcons. They did what they were supposed to do. You know, they had the courage to make that move. At quarterback, Kirk Cousins probably forced him to do it. But if the season ended today, they're in the playoffs. They currently occupy first place in the NFC South. Penix, you know, he was fine for his first career start. He didn't really blow anyone away by any means, but the team responded. They rallied around the situation, destroyed the Giants 34-7. The Giants doing a fantastic job of tanking, by the way, unlike the Las Vegas Raiders. Jingles, who are your biggest winners of the week?
Really got to point out the Detroit first half offense. It's the thing you can set your watch to every week. They've scored 14 points in 12 of their last 13 games. What they came out and did this week, I mean, because of the defense, this Johnson-led offense is absolutely unstoppable. Whatever they want to do, long deep passes, Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs can get a full workload. Like Tim Patrick, who I had bet on to get a touchdown, was the only guy in the offense who didn't get anything. Sam Laporta obviously got a lot going, but 18.7 points per first half. The next best team, 15.2. They're that good at scripted offense early in the game. And I don't know if you saw it, Joe, but they did this really cool fake fumble play. That was a scripted play. That was about as creative. And if there's an offense you want to watch, I know it's nice to watch Josh Allen and how he gets creative, but as someone who likes drawn up plays and the structure of a nice offense, Detroit by far, by a million. And speaking of offense, how about Joe Burrow? The playoffs are not dead for Joe Burrow, and he just became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 7 straight games, throw for 250 yards plus 3 TDs. And if you saw that throw to T. Higgins on that first TD as he was falling down, that was about as cool as you can see a touchdown pass, and pretty much showed what we were going to get from Joe. If they somehow make the playoffs, man, like, does he kind of get back in the MVP talk? Like, I get it's Josh Allen, but he at least deserves to be there because they are absolutely nothing without him. And then I have to touch on the same thing you did, Falcons and Penix, and I wrote down the exact same thing. The numbers didn't blow you away, but what really stood out, rookie left-handed quarterback covering 9.5 points at home in his first game. Yes, it's the Giants. Yes, it was Drew Lock, but they actually finished with the worst EPA per play on offense. The Giants did, and that's saying a lot when you had guys like DTR and what Mac Jones was trying to do in Vegas.
Yeah, the Falcons did what they were supposed to do, so we got to give them a little bit of credit. A couple people in the live chat weighing in. Jack Keefe says, 50-year Cards fan ready to walk off the ledge. Oh. Same shit every year. Talk about a team. They've walked off a ledge. The Arizona Cardinals, they had really 3 weeks ago, they were in first place in that division, a month ago maybe. And yeah, so just a disaster end to their season. You can't take Kyler Murray seriously at this point. More on that here shortly. Okay. Arizona fraud from James. My biggest losers of the week. My biggest loser of the week. This guy's been a big loser all season. Let's call it what it is. CJ Stroud. Everyone wanted to crown this guy. Everyone does their quarterback rankings coming into the season. Top 10. No doubt about it. Some people bold enough. Top 5. Let's put CJ Stroud on Christmas Day. He has really regressed. 2 interceptions versus the Chiefs on Saturday. He also threw 2 versus the Lions. He also threw 2 versus the Minnesota Vikings. Can you see the pattern here? So there's quarterbacks that we beat up every single Monday, whether it be on this show or the big networks, Kirk Cousins, Caleb Williams, Aaron Rodgers. All of those guys have a better quarterback rating than CJ Stroud this season. He's tied for touchdown passes with Caleb Williams and Tua, who missed 4 games, by the way. So let's chill out a little bit with these young quarterbacks on both sides of it, though. We want to kill the guy right off the bat. He's a bust. He should be traded. He should be benched. He's got no future in the NFL. Give these guys a little bit more time to breathe. Also, when they do something exciting, I know Stroud gets in front of a microphone. People like him at the press conference. Chill out a little bit here on CJ Stroud. He's having a really bad season. Okay, my second biggest loser is the Philadelphia Eagles defense. So that loss yesterday, it wasn't because Jalen Hurts went down and Kenny Pickett came into the game. It's because they allowed 36 points, including 21 points in the fourth quarter. So, you give the Eagles a bit of a pass. They're probably going to lose eventually at some point here in the regular season. But that loss is on the defense. The defense needed to step up when Hurts went down. They did not do their job. And my third biggest loser of the week, it is Brock Purdy. Now, he wasn't awful yesterday by any means, but we saw a story come out about Brock Purdy last week about how Brock Purdy is expecting this big-time contract extension to be one of the highest-paid quarterbacks for the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think he's going to get it for a couple different reasons. First reason is he has not elevated the play of his team when a lot of key players have been out of the lineup. They have gotten worse, and he has not been able to, rally around this situation in a way that we see a guy like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes do. Reason number 2, we saw a lot of good, not great quarterbacks get paid a lot of money coming into this season. Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott. I think it's fair to say all three of those situations have backfired for different reasons. A lot of it has to do with injuries. Tua missed a bunch of games. He's a ticking time bomb. Trevor Lawrence, when he was playing, he wasn't that good. Dak wasn't playing that good. He's out for the season. So we might see an end of this pattern where good starter quality quarterbacks don't get paid. So Brock Purdy might have missed that window. And dishonorable mention goes to Tyreek Hill, who looks extremely washed all of a sudden. He dropped 3 balls yesterday, a couple in the end zone, hit him right in the numbers. Not looking good for Tyreek Hill. Okay, those are my 3 biggest losers of the week. Jingles, who are yours?
No Jets, no honorable Jets hate. You didn't even throw like the Jetsies. Like it finished so funny again last week too, right? Like they muffed the punt. They missed the field goal and then they got the ball back and they muffed the punt. Like every week there's always something funny. And I know we just kind of run out of things to say about the Jets, but
I'm just over them. And then Aaron Rodgers in the press conference. Yeah, you kind of get a true feeling for the guys who really want to be here, as if he's some big leader or something. I'm done with the Jets. Can we end this? Yeah. Anyhow, no more Jets talk unless you want to trash them.
They were an audible mention just because of how, I mean, a muff punt at the end just to not get it, and the missed field goal and then the missed extra point. Everything was bad there again. DTR is by far, watch him. I mean, the numbers aren't terrible. I mean, he did finish last in quarterback rating, last in CPOE, but his offense wasn't the worst in terms of EPA per play. But if you watch him throw the ball, he's the most awkward quarterback. Just no touch, no pace, bad feet. Everything was bad. A lot of it was garbage time. But at the end of the day, like other teams, like you see Las Vegas is celebrating a win. Just lose and get a good pick. Go put in a bad quarterback and do exactly what Cleveland's doing. Just let them run out. You know what I mean? Don't get anybody hurt. Like you're not going to win games with DTR under center. And if you're a prop guy, you can't touch anybody unless it's check downs to like Jerome Ford. That's the only thing he can really go for. Kyler Murray has to be on this list. He just had too many chances and did absolutely nothing. The interception at the end was maybe one of the worst throws I've ever seen. 6 interceptions over his last 4 games. Just no clutch gene. I know that's an awful thing to say and it's kind of subjective, but it's just kind of what we've seen with Kyler Murray. We've never been like, wow, he's really putting this team on his back. And as we see in the chat, being an Arizona fan is not easy. There was a lot of excitement this year in an easy division, and things just went right down the shitter. And the final one, this one was crazy because I was on Eagles -4, and this game was insane. If you were an Eagles backer, if you're the other side, congratulations. But they're up 20? They're up 21-7 early. Okay, Jalen Hurts goes down. Okay, we'll try to hold on, and then you're down, and then all of a sudden, like they had a chance. Devontae Smith dropped that pass to ice the game. So what that did was they allowed them to kick a field goal to go up by 5 points and cover the spread. And then you're like, okay, we got a chance here. That was lucky enough. And then to go down and just absolutely bend on a team that turned the ball over, 5 times? Just an awful display. And I don't know, that was the first time I've sat through all of an Eagles game. And I didn't come away thinking that was a team that we saw rip off as many games as they did in the previous weeks.
Yeah, with 2 weeks left to go, I think it's pretty clear which teams are tanking. I had pinpointed the Las Vegas Raiders. That does not appear to be the case. They asked Antonio Pierce after the game, like, hey, what do you think after your win today? Now the Giants are in position to be to have the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And how do you feel about that? And he said it's like something condescending, like ask the general manager about that. So I thought maybe they were in like a little wink cahoot situation where, we're going to take our foot off the gas. You got to look at the Cleveland Browns, though. Jameis Winston is a guy who gives that team a little bit of spirit. You know what I mean? And they're putting DTR in. We've seen enough of DTR to know that he's not good. They tell Kevin Stefanski, hey, dude, your job is safe. Let's get ourselves in a position here in the draft where maybe we end up taking a quarterback or maybe we take the best non-quarterback available. The Cleveland Browns are setting themselves up. Maybe that's the situation here with the Giants too. Or are they just that bad? Getting the shit kicked out of them by Michael Penis and the Atlanta Falcons that badly? We'll see how that goes. The Miami Dolphins going up to Cleveland. I think they're favored by around 5 points. We'll see how that situation with Miami in the cold and the snow versus the tanking Cleveland Browns. Okay, Monday Night Football here. I'm guessing this game won't do a massive rating compared to your traditional Monday Night Football games. As I said, it is a game only a better can love, and we are betters. And as a result, I love this game, and I love a couple betting opportunities, specifically my first pick, one that I've played multiple times here over the past couple of months. Jordan Love, longest completion, over 37.5 yards. This one sets up very nicely for him tonight. This is hit in 9 of 12 games for him this season. He entered the week tied for the most pass attempts at 40-plus air yards. This despite missing a handful of games, so he loves chucking those balls up. And to bring it all together, the Saints allow a lot of big chunk plays through the air. They've allowed the third most pass plays of 40-plus yards, So it looks like a good opportunity for Love and these receivers to connect on at least one big one. So over 37.5 for his longest completion. Next up, we are in agreement on a prop. Usually, sometimes I think there's been a time or two we've been in agreement on a spread. This might be the first time all season we submitted the same prop. Alvin Kamara is out. His fill-in, Kendre Miller. We both like his receiving yards. You break down your reasons, and I'll break down mine.
First is the projection, just 19 plus yards for him at numbers here at 14.5, minus 110. Good price, good number. It's going to go up. We're seeing some 16.5s out there. I'd probably play this to 17.5. Maybe the projection could be a bit low, but just in terms of what this offense does with running backs, I know he's not Alvin Kamara, but this is still a team that targets its running backs at the highest rate in all of football at 28%. And in those Spencer Rattler starts and those 3 ones, when he actually had some good bodies in there in terms of receivers, now he doesn't. He was still getting the ball to his running backs at a 25% clip. So when he's got guys like MVS and Kevin Austin and Dante Pettis as his top 3 receivers, like he's going to have to get creative. And we're 14-point dogs in this spot. There's just going to be a lot of comeback time. And I did it with Jerome Ford, and there's a lot of good spots with bad quarterback play right now where it's just like, just dump it off to your third down back and here's some easy yards. And like, this could be a one and done in terms of how bad this offense is. And we could probably see some pretty big third and longs for this offense as well.
Okay, let me add a few bullet points to that one. So obviously this is a massive opportunity with Alvin Kamara out. He is going to be the lead back, dumping it off to Kamara. This is a massive part of this offense. So I think some of that planning will transition over to Miller here tonight. Good matchup for him. This is a weakness of the Packers defense. They entered the week allowing the 6th most receiving yards to running backs. You look at some of the recent matchups, both Lions running backs got to 30 receiving yards against him a couple of weeks ago. A-Chain went for 56 against him on Thanksgiving. McCaffrey went for 37 against him. You get it. This is a weakness of the Packers defense. And Jingles pointed out this game has a high likelihood of the Saints playing from behind by multiple scores. 14-point spread. I think that's going to just equal more passing for the Saints here tonight. So Miller over 14.5 receiving yards. We are in agreement, and you have one final play for the game tonight.
Yeah, I also got a piece of the Miller over 2.5 receptions at minus 120. That's going to go up as well if maybe that number takes off a bit. Another way to look at it, Darren Rizzo was saying that Jamal Williams will be getting some work, but guess what? Jamal Williams is not a guy who's going to catch a lot of passes. So even if they go Jamal Williams in the early down roll, then we should be pretty safe with Kendre Miller getting some passing work and running some routes. Speaking of it, I mean, where there has to be some yards in this game, right? Like Spencer Rattler's probably going to throw for 170 yards minimum. Let's say that. Where are they going? His number 1 receiver in MVS has a total of 32.5. His number 2 in Kevin Austin has a total in the mid-20s. And the number 3 guy, Dante Pettis, who he had 4 targets to when Rattler came in the last game, sitting at 12.5. I mean, he doesn't run a really long A-dot, but this is a pretty small number for a team that will probably have to run more 3 wide receiver sets late in this game. I'm not worried about it in the first half. This should be a more of a second half game for Pettis getting on the field, but it's a small number. Like I said, targeted 4 times in the second half with Rattler under center when he took over. And this game script is the game script's going to be too one-sided. Like, it's not going to be like, I can't see it being like a New England game yesterday where New England can jump out, right? Like, I don't think this Spencer Rattler indoor offense is going to go to Lambeau and get up 14-0 quickly versus a Packers team that's probably going to run the ball well early, especially with Jacobs. I think his total's at like 90 yards now.
Yeah, Packers are a well-coached team. I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas at this point of the season on their home field versus a lesser opponent. This team needs wins. Yeah. So, let's go. Okay, Jingles, your internet held up.
I know.
Clutch.
Thank goodness.
Like Michael Jordan in the fourth quarter.
Bud. Yeah.
Of a playoff game. Here we go, buddy. All right. So I won't be seeing you until Friday.
Friday show.
So Merry Christmas to you and your family. Enjoy some eggnogs and beer, whatever your cocktail of choice.
Not a nog guy. I'm no to nog. No, I'm not a big fan of the nog.
No, I like it. We buy just a little half pint of the spice rum and a 1 liter of the eggnog. Sprinkle a little cinnamon on top, and 1 or 2 of those. Also get into some beer drinking and some Baileys in the coffee. Just an excuse, right, to indulge.
All right. I enjoy the indulging, but lots of hockey today. We got another big slate. I mean, it's the holidays, but we're not slowing down, so let's keep going, pal.
Yeah, buddy. All right. We'll catch you on Friday, buddy. Take her easy.
Yep. Later.
Indeed. Okay. NBA, they're off tomorrow, so that means I think pretty much every single team is playing here tonight. So if we're talking NBA, it's with our guy, the Magic ass man, Jon Metler. What's up, buddy? How was your weekend?
Good. The Magic, I don't know if you saw it, but the Magic had an incredible comeback on Saturday. I think they outscored 37-8 the Heat in the fourth quarter to win. They're down by 20 going into the fourth. So, and with like guys like Trevlin Queen, who's like a two-way player for Wendell Carter was ejected, Mo Wagner tore his ACL. They're down Jalen Suggs, Banchero, Wagner. So it was pretty crazy. I think this could be the moment. I think we're entering a time. I think there's multiple NBA teams now who are entering like a danger zone of trades. Like, what are we doing? Miami Heat is one after that loss, especially Sacramento Kings with De'Aaron Fox, I think is another one. I think post Christmas here, kind of rude to trade someone before Christmas, right? I think post Christmas we could see some deals.
I think the Miami Heat might be due for, I don't know if you call it a tear down, maybe more of a reset with Jimmy Butler. His trade value, it's just going to get lesser and lesser, obviously, with each passing season. And that team that they built, Tyler Hero and Bam, I don't know. I think they need somebody better than one of those guys if they want to get back into top contender status. Again, speaking of the Orlando Magic, I looked at the spread here. They're a really good bet at home. They're a 10.5-point dog versus the Boston Celtics tonight. I didn't have the balls to pull the trigger on that one. But yeah, so John and I think every single team is playing in the NBA tonight. We are going. What's that now?
There's 14 games. Two teams are off.
Okay, so we have 5 total bets here for the show today. I'm sorry, guys. I'm all over the place here today. But your first bet comes from the game. Let's have you lead us off. I believe it is from this big Wizards Thunder game. Am I correct in saying that? The game that has a 17-point spread that tells you all you need to know about the Washington Wizards here. Break down your bet for us.
Yeah, and the 17-point spread is a factor here. So I went Bilal Coulibaly under 3.5 assists. I just think Coulibaly, just in general, if you're just to ask me where I think his assist prop should be trading, it's 2.5, definitely not 3.5. So he's had a couple of games here where he's gone over, not with like any crazy numbers of potential assists. And like, even if you look last game, he just had 5 dimes last game. If you go watch that, the first 2 were like 3-pointers to Alex Sarr, who shoots like 26% from 3. So you're lucky to convert those. And then he dropped 3 in the final 2 minutes of like a 20-point blowout where nobody's really playing defense. And those were also 3-pointers. So like, yes, you can look at a box score and be like, oh, he had 5 last game. I don't really like this. The assists you're seeing from him to me are very underwhelming. And then you're talking about playing the Thunder and like, how are you going to create shots for your teammates against this Thunder defense? And then how are other players on the Wizards going to convert these shots for you against the Thunder defense? There's also third game in 4 days for the Washington Wizards on the road in Oklahoma City, 18-point underdog. I feel like if there's a chance for a head coach to pull the plug on someone, like he's playing like 35, 36 minutes a night right before Christmas, you're on the road. I don't know. I feel like this one could really get away from the Wizards. So I'm going Coulibaly under.
Yeah, speaking of teams that are tanking, the Washington Wizards have seemingly been tanking forever. So who knows? They've never really had that big hit in the NBA draft, right? So maybe they'll end up landing Cooper Flag. We shall see. I have two bets. Let's start down in Charlotte against that bum team, the Charlotte Hornets. I'm going to take the Houston Rockets to cover the first quarter spread. Bit of an unusual bet, but hear me out. I wish I'd been betting this all season because the Rockets are a league best 27-1 against the spread in the first quarter of this season. This includes going 11-2-1 ATS on the road. Check out the first quarter stats for these teams. 5th versus 28th in first quarter point margin over the last 10 games. 4th versus 29th in first quarter defensive rating. And the Hornets, they're just an awful offensive form right now. LaMelo Ball just came out before we went on air. He is questionable here tonight. 26 in offensive rating over the last 10 games, 29th in EFG shooting percentage for the Hornets. So I like the Rockets to do what they've been doing all season, jump out to an early lead here in the first quarter, and to be leading at least by 2 points here in Charlotte. Okay, John, what do you have next for us?
Yeah, I'm going Bradley Beal over 3.5 assists. So I like the juice with this one. It was minus 145, so minus 150. Now you can find that at BetMGM. So you can go alt. I have absolutely no problem if you want to go 5+ assists or over 4.5, whatever that alt looks like to you, and you're looking at like plus 135. That's out there as well. I just kind of decided to lay the juice because Devin Booker is out, and Devin Booker and Tyus Jones were like the two primary creators. And then the last game where Booker was out, Beal led the team in potential assists. So I like that. I think we know that will continue. Just it makes sense that Bradley Beal kind of slides into more of that creator role with Devin Booker out, but it's only a 1-game sample size. So I just decided to lay the juice. I felt like it's maybe safer play. The EVs were pretty close on them as well. The thing that did pop with this too as well. So like the number I put out, that edge was Beal playing 32 minutes, and that's about his season average and stuff. But like again, without Booker last game, he played 38. Like that's a whole. It doesn't seem like much, but like for some players, that's a whole nother stint on the court. Like you usually run in like say 7-8 minute windows, right? That's almost like a whole nother sub into the game or like an overtime, right? So the fact that this was showing an edge at 32, it's probably very likely it gets up higher than that. So I love that for if you want to go for the alt, go for the alt, but I laid the juice. Bradley Beal over 3.5 assists.
Okay, next up for me, a bit more of a traditional bet. Good-looking game in Denver with the Phoenix Suns in 10, and I am going over the total of 230.5. This one, I started the day at 233.5. I liked it there, so I love it at 230.5. So check out this pattern of scoring here in Nuggets games. Sky-high scoring has become the norm. Average combined score of 237.2 in their games for the season. Over the last 10 games, that bumps up to 242.2. Both teams in great form offensively, 5th and 6th in offensive rating over the last 10 games. On the other end of the court, though, Phoenix having some real issues. Last 10 games, 28th in defensive rating. And the style of the game, fast pace and free throws. So Denver 2nd in pace over the last 10 games. Both of these teams get a lot of freebies. 2nd and 4th in free throw attempt rate over the last 10 games. When you're on the over, you love it. The clock is stopped, points being scored. So I think they go over 230.5 tonight. And Denver, okay, John, your final pick of the show today. What are we looking at?
Yeah, when James Harden under 23.5 points. He's had some big games here. He's had, I think, 40, 39, 41 recently. So this total's jumped from, he's usually sits about 21.5. And then it jumped up to 24.5. It's dropped a point here to 23.5. I'd still play it at 23.5. You just look at it. He's on the road in Memphis. Memphis has obviously multiple good perimeter defenders. Desmond Bane is questionable with an illness, but Scottie Pippen Jr., who's a backup, is a good defender as well. So it doesn't really concern you. I think Jalen Wells will probably spend some time on him. You also I just don't think James Harden is like, he could have a game where he has games where he has really big bursts of points. Like you've seen like a 40 point, and then he goes way under as well. So 23.5 just seems like a big number in general, like against any matchup, but like this matchup just also plays like you're in Memphis, the defense, Zach Edey's back in the starting lineup. So you're talking about like a 7'4" guy. You know how Harden loves to drive the lane and throw that little float shot. And then you have Jaren Jackson Jr. as a help defender, rim protecting as well. I just think this will be a tough game for Harden. I think that number is a little too high. I think he might lean on more Norman Powell to kind of help him out off catch and shoot opportunities. So I went under for James Harden.
Okay, John, that's it for picks today. Christmas Eve is tomorrow. Are you all set? You have all your shopping done? You do all your running around? Or are you one of these guys you got to run out to the store here this afternoon for the mad scramble?
I am surprisingly done. I just need to like wrap it and kind of organize it. But I have it all and I have it hidden. And it hasn't been found. So that's good. So we're making good progress here. I didn't see Bobby there. Also said no Nurkic ladder day. So the Suns Nuggets play today. They also play on Christmas. So I just kind of want to put Nurkic on film here. I want to see how he's used against the Nuggets, and then maybe Christmas we'll have a Nurkic ladder.
I hate that when teams play like 2 games in 3 days. I always find like, I don't know. The NBA last week, I found it to be a little bit tricky because it was almost like there were so much gaps in between these games for these teams. A lot of the teams had like a 4 or 5 day gap. It almost seemed like they were coming off of like an all-star break situation, just everything with the NBA Cup. But hopefully a couple winners there for you guys tonight, and hopefully an avalanche of winners on Christmas Day. So no regular live show of Before You Bet tomorrow. We will be recording a Before You Bet Christmas Day special covering off the NFL and the 5 NBA games. We're recording that tomorrow. Hopefully they have a bunch of props available for John to sink his teeth into. Either way, though, we're going to have some action, maybe a same game parlay or 2. We're going to have some fun. We will be joined by Hitman and Jon Metler for that as well. So that should be going up on the Covers YouTube channel. He'll probably sometime tomorrow afternoon. Keep your eyes peeled on our social medias, and we will alert you guys. If you're subscribed to the channel and you hit the alerts, you will get an automatic alert when the show goes live. So a very good suggestion. And that can be your Christmas gift to us. If you're looking to give back for some reason, hit that subscribe button right down there. It makes us look good. Last one, Jake from State Farm. I played Paul George under 5.5, but also sprinkled some on under 4.5 at plus 124. I'm guessing he's talking about the Paul George assist.
That was the bet I tweeted out earlier. It's one I'm on too. I just didn't make it one of the 3 to explain. So because it was moving pretty good with the juice, so I went with the ones that are kind of still available.
Ahead of the number. Okay, guys, we're going to leave it at that. We're going to be right back with you tomorrow. Like I said, not the usual live show. We will have something for the Christmas Day games, NFL and NBA, probably sometime tomorrow afternoon. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Thank you to my 2 guests for joining today. Thank you to producer Mick. Did a great job putting the show together today. Thank you to our sponsor, BetMGM. Make sure you check them out for all your sports betting needs. Thanks to all the great viewers. Best of luck with your bets tonight. We'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Let's go, Houston Rockets! Woo!